الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الحاربين والصلاة والسلام وتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي اسمه في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين المكرمين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقتليهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكري فضائلهم ملعونين. Amma ba'd, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marziya, for the enlightenment of the graves of the Marhumin and of the graves of the Shahada and Siddiqeen, for the safety and hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam Arwahun al-Fida, and for the safety of anyone around the world that says Ya Zahra, recite aloud salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is Rahman and the one who is Rahim, the one that has given us this opportunity once again to sit in the remembrance of Sayyidatun Nisa al-Alameen, to sit in the remembrance of the one that was the apple of the eye of the Prophet of God, the one that was the peace of the heart of Ali. Our discussion of the last few nights has been centering around the khutbah delivered by Hazrat Zahra the khutbah in the court of Abu Bakr, known as Khutbah al-Fadakiyya, the khutbah where she is forced to go and ask for her right from the Khalifa. The khutbah itself, although fighting for her right is an indication as well to the greatness of Sayyidah Zahra. It gives an indication as to how great this woman was. And yesterday I spoke about the birth of this lady and the miracles that surrounded it, her speaking from the womb to her mother, her recitation of Shahadatain as soon as she was born, her recognition of the 4 midwives that came down from heaven for her. This lady is absolute. Recite salat.
Allahumma Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And every day I endeavor to give you small snippets of her life, the small snippets of her characteristics, of her virtues, in order for us to understand more and more in depth this great personality. This personality who, like all the other imams, we only call out to when we're in trouble. We only call out to when we need something, when I need to pass my exams, when I've got problems with someone being ill, when I've got economic problems at home, when I've got marital problems. That is the only time when our imams come to us. That is the only time we remember our imams. That is the only time we remember what they taught us and we try and act upon it when we require something. But they are far greater than that. When this holy lady reached the age to be married, and many people would come to the Prophet. In fact, those that were later to oppress her also came to the Prophet asking, hoping that they could marry and become the father-in-law, or marry and become the son-in-law of the Holy Prophet. They were coming and asking, and the Prophet was saying no, And many of the ashab came, and all of them were sent back. It was only when Jibreel descended down and said to the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, Zawwaja Noora min al-Noor, marry the light with the light. The Prophet of Allah said, what do you mean, Jibreel? Jibreel says, O Rasulullah, marry those 2 lights together that were married within the heavens. Marry Ali and Fatima together. And then Amir al-Mu'mineen comes round. He comes round, he asks for the hand, Rasulullah accepts, but he doesn't have anything for the dowry, for the mahr. So the hadith continues that Amir al-Mu'mineen sells his shield. And maybe this is the reason that Sayyidah Fatima, she knew that Ali had sold his shield in order to marry her. So maybe Sayyidah Fatima was thinking that I will become the shield of Ali. The job of the shield is to defend the person that holds it. She knew that Amir al-Mu'mineen had sold his shield in order to marry her, so she became the shield of Ali. She became the defender of wilayat. At every point after the death of Rasulullah, it was Fatima to Zahra that was going forward and defending this institution of wilayat, defending this institution of imamat. And it is the khutbah of this great lady that also highlights these points. And inshallah, in the next 2 nights, we'll be able to touch upon how she defended wilayat, if we get the opportunity. But the first philosophy of ibadah, because we said yesterday that we'd focus on that part of the khutbah where Bibi explains the philosophy of ibadat, as to why Allah has made incumbent certain things upon people. So the opening line of that, she says, فَجَعَلَ اللَّهُ الْإِيمَانَ تَطْهِيرًا لَكُم مِّنَ الشِّرْكِ. That Allah has made iman for you, has given you iman in order to purify you from shirk, in order to take you away from shirk. What is shirk? Shirk is attributing a partner to Allah. There are different types of shirk, and that is the base level that we understand, that shirk is attributing a partner to Allah, idol worship, all of these things. But there are greater levels of shirk. Levels of shirk which we don't even realize that we commit. And inshallah, throughout this lecture, we'll endeavor to highlight those, as well as highlight the different levels of iman. Because it's very easy saying that we are mu'mins. It's very easy to say that I am a mu'min, but when we actually look at the criteria for iman, and even Islam, there are varying levels and varying degrees which we will highlight as well. So she starts off first of all explaining why iman is there, why God made you have this faith, why He gave you this faith. It is to purify you from that shirk. And her opening lines of this very same khutbah, she, after doing the hamd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she goes to explain how one can implement this iman within themselves. She says, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له كلمة جعل الإخلاص تأويلها. She says, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who is one without partner. There is no God but Allah. He has no sharik, He has no partner. And then she says, كَلِمَةٌ جَعَلَ الْإِخْلَاصَ تَأْوِيلَهَا. That this is a statement which sincere devotion is its interpretation. Meaning, when you put your actions, or when you put that into your very actions, by everything that you do, your very actions, your very entity, your very wujud must worship Allah, then you have understood that La ilaha illallah. It doesn't mean that I just pray namaz and then that's it, or I just come to masjid and that's it. No, my very existence must be worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Dua Kumail we say this every Thursday. حَتَّى تَكُونَ أَعْمَالِي وَأَوْرَادِي كُلُّهَا وِرْدًا وَاحِدًا وَهَالِي فِي خِدْمَتِكَ السَّرْمَدًا. That, oh my Lord, raise me to the extent that my words and my actions become intertwined with each other, and my very existence becomes a constant servitude to you. This is what Bibi here is highlighting. She says that ikhlas, by saying this, it's not enough. It has to be shown through your actions. This sincere devotion is the interpretation. You know, your very total, your whole wujud must be worshipping Allah. Your very existence must be for Allah. And this is highlighted in Risalat al-Huquq of Imam Zayn al-Abidin salawatullah. Risalat al-Huquq are the rights which Imam Zayn al-Abidin highlights, and he stretches from every aspect. It is a book that he wrote, and it encompasses every aspect of our life. From our own body, the rights of our hands over us, the rights of our eyes over us, the rights of our tongue, the rights of our feet, the rights of our fellow brothers, the rights of the person that gives azan, the muazzin, the rights of the non-Muslim that lives in the Islamic state, the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the right of the wife, the right of the mother, the right of the father. Totally encompassing 50 rights, the Imam explains. And in the introduction, he opens up and he says, A'lam, rahimakallah, know that may God have mercy upon you. Know this part. Know this. أن الله عليك حقوقا محيطة بك, that Allah has made rights incumbent upon you. في كل حركة حركتها, that every motion which you move, there is a right that Allah has made incumbent upon you. أو سكنة سكنتها أو منزلة نزلتها أو جارحة قلبتها أو آلهة تصرفت بها بعضها أكبر من بعض. That know that Allah has a right over every movement that you make, every place that you sit, every station, every house in which you stay, every limb which you move, everything that you use, every instrument that you use, all of them have a right over you. بَعْضُهَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ بَعْضٍ, and some of them are greater than the others. And what is the greatest right? And he says the greatest of all those rights is the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is in its introduction. He says that Allah has made rights incumbent upon you from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. Every part of your body must be going back towards Allah, must be working towards Allah. It goes back to that point that Bibi makes, that you can only say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah if you show it through your actions. It's no good through the tongue. So when Imam goes on to discuss the right of Allah, chapter 1 of Risalatul Huquq, when he talks about the right of Allah, he says, فَأَمَّا حَقُّ اللَّهُ الْأَكْبَرُ, know that the right of Allah is the greatest one. And what is that right? فَإِنَّكَ تَعْبُدُ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِهِ شَيْئًا, that you should worship Him without associating any partners to Him. فَإِذَا فَعَلْتَ ذَلِكَ بِالْإِخْلَاصِ جَعْلَ لَكَ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ, and if you were to do that with sincerity, then He has made binding upon Himself. He has made a promise with you and made it wajib upon Himself. أن يكفيك أمر الدنيا والآخرة ويحفظ لك ما تحب منهما, and that He has, what's the promise He's made upon Himself? That if you worship Him without associating any partners to Him, and you worship Him with sincerity, with ikhlas, then He will give you whatever you wish from this world, and He will give you whatever you want from the hereafter. He will give you sufficiency in this world, He will give you sufficiency in the akhirah, and He will allow you to keep what you want from both of the worlds. In that place, where is your eternal abode? Seems very simple, very straightforward. The Imam is saying, worship Allah. Yeah? It's very simple, very straightforward, seems very easy. Just worship Him. Don't associate any partners with Him. Do it with ikhlas. There are 3 points here which I, from my limited knowledge and my limited understanding, have picked out. that when we extrapolate them further, we'll be able to understand the depth of what Imam is saying and what Sayyidah Zahra is saying. The first of these points is where Imam says, La tushrik bihi shay'a. This point of not associating any partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second is this concept of ikhlas. What is this concept of sincerity? And the third is that the promise of Allah that He will give you the sufficiency in this world and in the akhirah and give you whatever you want from both of the worlds. The first point is La tushrik bihi shay'a. Do not associate any partners with Him. You know, it comes sometimes as, you know, in this era that we live in this time of liberation, you know, people look around the world, there's all these protests happening, everyone's shouting freedom. You know, everybody wants to set you free. You type in freedom into Google, you know, the source of all knowledge, Google. And you type into Google, and Google tells you there's 1,000,001 pages offering you freedom. Jesus set me free. Buddha set me free. Guru Nanak set me free. Everybody sets me free. Everybody wants to give you freedom nowadays. Even the Muslims are getting in on the act. You know, when we watch this series that's come on to The Arrivals, you know, The Arrivals. Everybody's seen The Arrivals. Everybody wants to learn about The Arrivals. You look for the triangle everywhere, the eye of Dajjal everywhere, the Illuminati. They're controlling our lives all over the... I've never seen it. To be totally honest with you, I watched the first episode and I got bored. But I watched this middle... One of the links that came up when I typed in freedom to Google was this from this series, The Arrivals. And it's apparently the one right in the middle. So it's the only 10 minutes I could watch of it. And so I watched it, and it says, you know, now we have revealed this for you. And you have seen this, and you have seen this. And now you're ready to be unplugged. And you're ready to be freed. Oh, mashallah. The ones freest to what? Free to be able to see the eye of Dajjal, to see the triangle of the Illuminati, to be able to find it on the dollar. I'll find it everywhere. And you know, people get really involved. We love this thing. Oh, you know, do you know this person sang this in their song? Well, first thing, you should be listening to songs. But as a side issue, you know, we'll look at this, and everywhere they go, they'll be like, that's a Masonic symbol. Oh, look on top of that church. Look at that pentacle. Look at this, look at that, look at this. I said this in one place, and it did get a few people a bit agitated. But I'll say it again, because I stand by what I said. If these secret societies were secret for thousands and thousands of years, and they've been going on, and they've been doing it all secretly, and then one day, someone with a YouTube video comes along and exposes these secret societies so that the masses are awoken to it, and everyone starts seeing, and everyone starts following the triangle, trying to look for the eye. If we flip this concept on its head and say maybe the secret societies wanted to be known now. Maybe it works in their favor to distract the Muslims so that they're all looking for the eye, they're all looking for the triangle, they're all looking for the Masonic and the Illuminati symbols, so that they forget to work on themselves. They forget that they are the abd of Allah. They forget that first they need to strengthen their own faith. They need to strengthen their own souls before they start running after. But when they start running after the Illuminati and the Masons, we forget about our own preparation, our own spirituality, our own progression towards Allah. In Islam, there is no concept of freedom. Maulana is here. If I'm saying anything wrong, he'll correct me. There is no concept of freedom. The Prophet of Allah did not come to set you free. He came to make you abd. There is only the concept of ubudiyyah, of being the abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The concept of freedom as we know it, to do what you want, when you want, how you want, does not exist in Islam. You have the parameters with which you must live your life. You have how you must act. So the first right that Imam says is that you must worship Allah la tushrik bihi shay'a, without associating any partners with Him. Now, there's one side of it that we see as the idol worship. Yeah? This is the shirk. The idol worship, saying Jesus was the Son of God, all of these, the very blatant shirks that we have. But we have a second type of shirk. It's called shirk al-khafi, the hidden shirk. The shirk that we do subconsciously. The association to Allah that we do consciously. How? Subconsciously, sorry. How? It's a football match. Namaz time comes, I'll pray at half time. It's football. I'll pray at half time. Got my Xbox. Got an Xbox. You got an Xbox? Got an Xbox. Got to play Call of Duty. When I finish this level, then I will pray. Cricket, Cricket World Cup. India versus Pakistan. I'm not going to go into that. Yeah? Everybody saw the Cricket World Cup. It ran straight past namaz time, and then the tea break was in the middle. How many of us stood up from the match and went to pray? Forget when the tea break is. When did I give? This is the hidden shirk. When I give more importance to everything else other than Allah. When that football match becomes more important to me than Allah. When that cricket match becomes more important to me than Allah. When my Xbox becomes more important to me than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is that shirk al-khafi. That hidden shirk. But then you have the other level. When we ascend slightly, then when we go to pray, then when we go to actually pray, when we get round to praying, we get past all the distractions, then we start to pray. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I remember where I put my keys now. I know where I left that mobile now. I must have left it there. And I'm thinking, I've got to do this and I've got to do that, and after I finish this namaz, then I'm going to do this, I'm going to eat, and after I've eaten, I'm going to go to the masjid, and I'm going to... According to the ulama, according to people like Allama Tabatabai, according to Imam Khomeini, this too is shirk. Because you are there in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are there in the presence of Allah, but the mind wanders, and now I'm associating something else with Allah. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll touch upon namaz and the second part of the khutbah, and we'll go more into depth as to what in reality is this namaz that we have. What is it? And some of the hadiths that I'll have tomorrow will definitely raise some eyebrows, as in this namaz that we take so lightly. It's so great. It takes you, according to Imam Sajjad, when he talks about the rights of namaz, he says when it takes you to the threshold of the Lord. The threshold takes you to that. The Prophet of God didn't just say as-salatu mi'raj al-mu'min for anything. But inshallah we'll go into that more tomorrow. This hidden shirk that we have. Every day we're doing it. We have a wedding. And we got a wedding happening. Got the music playing. But hold on, Maulana's coming to do nikah. Turn the music off. Then Maulana comes, does the nikah. As soon as Maulana leaves, sits in his car, the music's back on again. we fear Maulana more than Allah. Shirk or not? That hidden shirk. It's there. You know? Then we have the other level. You know, from our sister's side. I don't wear hijab because I don't accept it. I think hijab should be in the heart. Okay, fine. You know, everybody comes on and says, brother, you know, you talked on Facebook. You know, brother, you talked about hijab. I think you were a little bit harsh. Really? So why? They say, oh, because look, the hijab is in my heart. I say, okay, look, fine. I'm not questioning your chastity. I'm not questioning anything. I'm saying, just one question. When you pray, do you wear hijab? Yes, of course I do. Astaghfirullah. How can I not wear hijab when I pray? Why? Well, because I'm in front of Allah. I'm in front of Allah. I'm praying to my Lord. My answer is always the same. I always thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was everywhere. I always thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was everywhere. Not just on my musalla, not just at the time of Zuhr, not just there at the time of Asr. But He is there all the time. So this is that hidden shirk. But it doesn't mean that Islam restricts you all the time. Islam tells you to live your life. It says, live your life. Go and do things, but stay within the boundary of Islam. You know, stay within the boundaries. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah 16, verse 36, فَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْزُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ. Let's go, travel the earth. But do one thing. Look at what happened to those that were liars. Yani, look at those things and do that ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at what happened to the people of the past. So then we have the second thing. So the Imam first talks about that level of shirk. That's shirk. The second one that the Imam talks about is that level of ikhlas. That you're praying to Allah, you should worship Him with ikhlas, with sincerity. And in fact, Allama Tabatabai in his book, Colonel of the Colonel, Lubb al-Lubab, when discussing this concept of sincerity, when discussing this concept of ikhlas, he says that this is the highest level of spirituality. This is the highest spiritual state. And I said we discussed those different levels of Iman in Islam. Because you don't enter into Iman unless you've understood Islam first. First you enter into Islam Asghar, the small Islam. This is where you just accept the deen. You accept this. From there, when you accept that very basic thing, you enter into Iman Asghar. From Iman Asghar, you enter into Islam Akbar. From Islam Akbar, when you start to learn more about the deen, you enter into Iman Akbar. From Iman Akbar, you enter into Islam A'zam. From Islam A'zam, you enter into Iman A'zam. But then it still doesn't stop. Because then from there, you start to enter into the migrations towards Allah. Hijrat Sughra, Hijrat Kubra, Hijrat Uzama. After the hijrats, after those migrations towards Allah, we have the jihads. We have the... Sorry, okay, sorry, I was told I had till 1:45, but okay. Sorry, I'm going to have to close up here. So, we have the Iman, the different levels of Iman. And then from that hijrat that we have, we go into the three levels of those migrations towards Allah. Hijrat al-Sughra, Hijrat al-Kubra, Hijrat al-Uzama. And then after that we enter into the realms of jihad. Jihad Asghar, Jihad Akbar, and Jihad A'zam. Then we enter into the realm of ikhlas. The Imam says when you enter into that realm of ikhlas, then you worship Allah, la tushrik bihi shay'a, then He promises that He will give you sufficiency in this world and in the akhirah. He will give you both this world and the hereafter. And that is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm still worried. Ikhlas is so far away. I'm still worried whether I should keep a beard or not, whether I should wear hijab or not, whether I should pray or not, whether I should do this. There are so many spiritual stages that I still have to ascend. And I'm worried about the menial tasks. I'm worried about those minimum things, whether I should listen to music or not. Oh, is it haram? Is it not? Is it halal? All of these things, we're still struggling with those. We still need to ascend so many levels of spirituality. We're so worried about our own lives. We're still worked up there. And then the third thing that the Imam says, that it is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will give you. And when Allah makes a promise upon Himself, when He makes something compulsory upon Himself, then He fulfills it. He fulfills it. He will take you and He will give you whatever He has promised. He will never hold back from you what He's promised you. And there are various promises Allah makes within the Holy Quran. But more related to ours, more related to our topic, is the promise that Allah makes that He will take and He will take revenge upon those that oppress. Those that are the oppressors will be given their punishment. And the biggest oppressors were those who oppressed Ala Muhammad. After the death of the Holy Prophet, we've been saying for days that after the death of the Holy Prophet, the Muslims came to the door of Fatima to Zahra, not to ask or not to give her condolences, not to ask her if she needed anything, but instead in their hands were fire, in their hands was flames, and they were setting fire to the door of Fatima to Zahra. They say that Bibi Fatima was behind the door, pleading with them. They are crying from outside, saying, send out Abu Hassan. She says that this is the door where the revelation would descend. This is the door where the Prophet of God would come and send salams. Will you burn down this house? They say, we will burn down this house and its inhabitants as well. They set fire to the door. Fatima is behind the door. He says, the second one narrates that I kicked the door open and I realized that Fatima to Zahra is behind the door. So instead of stopping, I pushed the door even harder until I realized that the nail of the door had pierced the chest of Fatima to Zahra. As the Fatima falls to the ground, she falls to the ground unconscious. The Muslims rush inside the house. They tie Ali ibn Abi Talib up. They put ropes around the neck of Ali. They tie the hands of Ali and they drag him to the masjid. As Amir al-Mu'mineen passes by the unconscious body of Bibi Fatima, they say his abba went over the face of Bibi Fatima and she comes around, forgetting all of her pains, forgetting every one of her sorrows. They say one hand was on her side, the other hand she makes her way to the masjid. She enters into the masjid and there she finds that Amir al-Mu'mineen is there tied in front of the Khalifa. Here Fatima to Zahra says, release Abu Hassan, release the father of Hassan. Will you not listen? No one listens to Fatima. They say, release him again, she says. They do not listen. Fatima says that if you do not release Ali, I will pray to Allah to curse you. They say that Fatima went to remove the covering of her face. The masjid began to shake. The masjid lifted off the walls. The hadith says that they lifted high enough for a man to pass from underneath. Amir al-Mu'mineen, hearing this from Fatima, turns to Salman. He says, Salman, tell Fatima not to curse these people, for Allah will destroy them. Salman comes to Bibi Fatima. He says, O daughter of the Prophet, do not curse them. Amir al-Mu'mineen has requested that you do not curse them. Bibi Fatima turns around and says, Salman, Ali is there. They are holding the Imam of my time. time and you want me to stay quiet. I say, Bibi, you could not bear to see Ali, the Imam of your time, in ropes and held in front of the Khalifa. Then what would you have done on the plains of Karbala when Zainab is sitting on Dhilla Zainabiyya, Ash-Shimru jalisun ala sadrin, and Shimr is on the chest of Abi Abdullah, and he is hacking away at the neck of Imam al-Hussein, and Zainab is crying from Dhilla Zainabiyya that do not kill him, he is the son of Rasulullah. على لعنة الله للقوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أن منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive the sins of our parents. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Oh Allah, those of our parents that have left this world, give them a blessing to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. Oh Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa'ah. Oh Allah, those who are in debt, clear their debts. Oh Allah, those who are in education, make them successful. Oh Allah, keep our ulama and our maraji at the head of our institutions. Oh Allah, keep safe the Shias of Ali Muhammad wherever they are in the world, especially the Shias of Bahrain and Saudi. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time. Allow us to be amongst his true muntadirin. For the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that the brothers and sisters have brought to the majlis, please recite 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allah.